Welcome to this week's edition of EcoView, examining our world and how each of us relates to it. Because of Disney World, Central Florida has become one of the world's greatest tourist centers, attracting millions of visitors every year and transforming the region's economy. But what about its environmental impact? How can this vast and growing empire have anything but a negative impact on its natural surroundings? This week, we'll take an exclusive inside look at Walt Disney World, visiting parts of the center which are seldom seen by tourists, to better understand what the people at Disney mean by the term environmentality.
You know, beautification is one of our most important environmental programs, and that's our whole horticulture program. And it's very unique and a very long tradition here at Walt Disney World. We tell stories with plants, which means that we try to recreate ecosystems from around the world or cultural garden styles. So here at the Wilderness Lodge, we're representing the Rocky Mountains and all of the conifers of that mountainous area. And we can't grow conifers here. We can't grow firs and spruce and hemlock. We just can't do it. So we use look-alike plants. And here we're using a cedar from the Himalayas, the deodar cedar. But then we have a wildflower effect, a brook, to give the effect of this ecosystem. But we tell stories with plants and we practice good horticulture. And that leads us into other environmental programs, because environmental responsibility in horticulture is very important. Gardeners are great environmentalists because they work close to the land. So we have programs where we reuse our water. And around the Walt Disney World property, you see purple pipe. That's the color for reuse water. And we use it on our golf courses. We use it throughout our property. We also use compost from our wastewater treatment facility. We're like a city. We're like a city of 150,000 people. And so we generate about 40 to 50 cubic yards of compost a day. And with this compost, we're able to fertilize some of our roadways. We're able to mix it into our soils and get a very rich product. We're also able to do something very unique. Much like farmers do with manure, we mix it with water and use it as a liquid fertilizer. And it has some very magical qualities.
In the past few years, we realized that the reduction of traditional pesticides is something that's happening throughout the world. And here at Walt Disney World, we want to take the lead in that environment. We've reduced our traditional insecticides by approximately 90%, thus enabling us to better utilize our beneficial insects, both predators and parasitics. These are reared not only by insectaries throughout the United States, but by our land pavilion here. And by reducing traditional pesticides by that amount, we've encouraged our native beneficials to come back into the area and reestablish themselves to help us along with the program.
These are called Ophiosticitus. They're parasitic wasps. We put them out for leaf miners. What the leaf miner does is it makes holes in the leaf, and eventually it can take over the whole bed and kill it. This is a wasp. What it does is the female hatches out, and she actually lays her eggs inside the larvae of the insect, and then that egg drops out, more hatch, and then they keep on reproducing. That way we don't have to spray any chemicals out here. What we do is we take the lid off, we place them in the soil, place the cup in, and then we put this cover over so when the rain comes, it doesn't drown the eggs, or when the irrigation comes on. And they hatch and they fly and they disperse out through the bed.
I've been here 22 years at the Walt Disney World Resort, working here at the wastewater treatment plant, and I am convinced that we're one of the premier, if not the best, in the southeastern United States as far as doing what we do here at the wastewater treatment. We're very proud of how we treat the environment. We're very proud that we have a very quality effluent going out, that we meet all state and federal regulations, and we take great pride in representing the people here in the Central Florida area and being concerned about environmental issues. We are a 15 million gallon a day facility here serving the Walt Disney World Resort, and currently we're averaging over 9 million gallons a day of wastewater. And as our flow comes in and at the end result, we send approximately 78% to rapid infiltration basins, which are 1 acre basins, And these basins just charge the shallow water aquifer, and the other 22% of their flow that's coming in we send out to reuse. And our reuse here, or reclaimed water at Walt Disney World Resort, consists of 5 18-hole golf courses, 1 9-hole golf course, and also roadways. And as new resorts come online, we're incorporating reclaimed water being used for irrigation purposes in the outlying areas. Taking our water out to the rapid infiltration basins, the water goes down to the shallow aquifer and actually only goes down 15 to 25 feet and flows horizontally. Very little water actually goes down into the deep water aquifer. So we're charging the shallow ground aquifer when we're discharging to the rapid infiltration basins. We haven't reached our potential yet. As we continue to grow and expand, certainly our goal is to utilize as much water as we can. We're interested in looking at the cooling towers at our power plant here on property. So ultimately, we would hope to have 30 to 35% going out as reclaimed water here.
This is the Reedy Creek Improvement District's material recovery facility here at Walt Disney World. Our 28,000 square foot facility houses the equipment and machinery that processes the recyclable materials from Walt Disney World resorts and parks. We handle about 35 tons a day through this facility, including aluminum, glass, plastic, office paper, and cardboard. We have a variety of recycling programs here at Walt Disney World, some of which include usable construction materials recycling, where we take materials like bathtubs, doors, paint, tile, floor tile, even roofing material, and we take it and we donate it to a local nonprofit distribution center, which reissues them to Habitat for Humanity, the homeless, shelters, and other nonprofit groups. We also have a program called Disney Harvest. We pick up prepared, unused food, and it goes to the homeless. It feeds about, my understanding is it feeds about 75% of the homeless in Central Florida. It's bakery items, it's hamburgers and hot dogs, that sort of item. This is a commercial recycling center. We handle aluminum and office paper and cardboard. The way the office paper is handled is it's baled on this conveyor that's directly behind me. It's sorted, and then it's sorted into 3 grades. There's a high grade, a medium grade, and a low grade. The low grade is basically what's left after we pick everything else off. The markets for paper are very good right now, and this is one of the few items that we can actually make some revenue on to pay for the rest of the processing.
This is the outdoor compost facility. We take the biosolids from the wastewater treatment plant, and as we bring them out here, we mix them with other waste products, pallets that are no good, construction demolition type wood. This helps to let the air flow through the piles. The bacteria that does the work for us is aerobic. They breathe air like you and I do, and the pallets help to keep that oxygen available for them. We also bring out food waste from all the different restaurants in the area. We mix that with yard waste, horse manure and bedding, and any grass that's available at the time.
Well, this material is when it's finished compost, and it'll age out here until it's, in quotes, mature. And mature to us has to do with the appropriate beneficial microbes back into the system. There are a number of ways this is going to be used. One of the ways is that our bedding plant soil provider will pick this up and blend it with peat and sand and pine bark and minor elements and haul that back to us. It'll have about 20% compost in it, and that has really been a very beneficial soil for us because it eliminates some of the soil disease problems that we have typically encountered. A substantial part will be used for that. The rest of it will be used, be spread on the roadsides. And instead of commercial fertilizer on turf, we'll use compost once a year. And that for us has lasted about 2 years, one application. So it's about 2 to 3 times longer than the standard agricultural commercial fertilizer will be used. I think almost any waste product, no matter how nasty it might be, if we put our minds to it and we work at it, we'll find a very useful product and likely end up making money doing it, particularly if we give us a little time to do it.
We have a centralized computer control system that this particular computer controls all of the irrigation in all of the 3 theme parks and our irrigated roadways and the tree farm. the way it does that is it has a computer with a modem that calls up satellite computers throughout the parks. Each park has 4, 5, 6 different satellite computers. And then those satellite computers are actually responsible for anything that goes on in their geographic area. So they keep track of the timing functions, how long each zone has run, things like that. The main computer does the calculations to tell it how long to run, and then the satellite computers actually take over the actual function of running the water.
So we have many of these programs that tie directly to horticulture, but there are many, many programs at Walt Disney World way beyond horticulture. Energy savings programs, green purchasing programs, green architecture programs, so that we ensure that we develop the property with an environmental responsibility, so we establish a sustainable system. And we practice what we call environmentality, having a mentality of being environmentally responsible.
Back in England, we are known for our roses and our crowns, and both can be rather colourful. Here at the United Kingdom Pavilion at Epcot is a good place to start viewing roses. But if you want to grow them, you're going to have to start rolling your sleeves up. Make sure you have the right variety of roses for your climate. Roses love warm climates and can survive cold winters if taken care of properly. You can buy roses in bare root form. However, I recommend buying them in containers. Find a place in your garden that gets full sun. Roses like well-drained, acidic soil. Plant them about 4 feet apart. During blooming season, roses should be watered well, as close to the soil level as possible. The morning is best. When first planting, give your roses reasons to burst with colour. Use bone and blood meal and fertilise every 8 weeks with an organic rose fertiliser. Remember, roses will run wild like a dog if you let them. Put that collar on them by pruning twice a year. The bad guys like aphid and spider mites like to love your roses a little too closely. Blow them off the leaves with a good pesticide. Here at Walt Disney World, the most asked question to a gardener like me is, how do you make a topiary? Would you believe we grew Mary Poppins from seed? No. Actually, here's how it's done. We have landscape artists, and one way is to actually trim a shrub in the desired shape of the animal or thing you're trying to resemble. We use podocarpus and junipers because these grow rapidly and tolerate clipping well. Some of our character topiaries begin with a metal frame. Sphagnum topiaries grow quickly. The frame must be covered with wire and stuffed with unmilled sphagnum moss. After a good stuffing, a vine like ivy or creeping fig can grow on the taupe. This is the skin, or fur if you will. Remember to pin those tendrils with clips or hairpins and trim it as your character grows. Now, to breathe a little life into your creation, water. This is very important. Sphagnum tends to dry out, especially in the fingers, not unlike us. Now for the final touch. You can dress your new addition up with a few flowers in the right places. There, almost ready for a walk around the block. This is the UK Pavilion at Epcot, a place that abounds with hanging baskets. We English have had a long tradition in our gardens, and flowers have been our passion for centuries. We've hung them around our castles, and you can hang them around your castles too. This is how we make them. First decide, will it hang in the shade or sun? Impatiens are our favourite for shade. For those in the sun, try mini red ivy geraniums and blue splendor brachycomb. Let's try a variety of plants for a sunny location. You'll need a wire basket, a chain, unmilled sphagnum moss, potting soil, and your plants. Working from the bottom, begin with the moss. This holds moisture. Then add the soil. Carefully plant each of the plants in the soil, alternating each of the cascading varieties around the edges. Remember, the hanging basket needs time to develop. With regular watering and fertilizing, this is what you can have in a few weeks. Color outside your house gives it curb appeal. Here at Epcot, there's a lot of that curb appeal. Here's some of their gardening secrets. An artist works with light and form to create on canvas. The gardener needs to do the same thing. Bedding plants help accent your home. When planting flowers, think of how the light and sun will play on them all day. Impatiens are not suited for strong sun. Stick with begonias for that. Marigolds and salvia make great floral additions. The quality of soil makes a world of difference. Sandy soil needs a potting soil mixture, and don't forget fertilizer. A fertilizer with a higher phosphorus level is what you want. Water often, but be very careful not to overwater. We don't live in a world of black and white, so add some passion to your property with flowers. Here at Walt Disney World, we have 43 square miles to garden, but we choose to put many of our plants in pots and containers. You may be thinking of doing the same thing. Here are some pointers. Find the right container. Does the container match the architecture or theme of your home? It should. Make sure there is proper drainage. Check for a hole at the bottom, preferably before you pour in the water. Gardeners shouldn't be all wet. You'll need a well-drained light soil and fill it if you have a large container. Styrofoam peanuts or broken clay can help drainage. A mixture of upright and cascading varieties of plants work well together. For a symmetrical look, try Juniper torullosa. Window boxes can be livened up with pink geraniums. It's important to choose the right plants for the season and location. Sun or shade, place those taller plants in the center. The cascading varieties go around the edges. After planting, water well. Remember to fertilize regularly and pinch off the older blooms, thus giving more nutrition to the buds.